There is a scene in this flower shop where this guy with the Teen Wolf haircut, thickest hair I've ever seen on scene. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to Soap Lore, the official gathering place for newbies, novices, and OG Jolly fans of the golden age of primetime. I'm your host, Jet, viewing and reviewing one of the soapiest, suzziest, most bizarre episodes of vintage primetime soap opera of 1984. So whether you're new to this or true to this, sit back and enjoy. So because it's time to play outside or out of sight, tell babe no questions, suggestions, or concerns for the next 25 to 35 minutes. Tell everyone else in earshot, cool, calm, or collected area only dispositions, otherwise you will be kicked out because we have got to discuss our stories. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this is Soap Lore. Hello, gorgeous. Welcome back, party people, to another fun-filled edition of Soap Lore. We are watching Dynasty, yes. Season 4, episode 14. It's a building block, you know what I'm saying? It's one of those, it's not the most exciting, but it is important. This one has a peculiar title, Lancelot. What are your thoughts when you think of Lancelot? I gotta tell you, as a TV kid, as a bookworm, for whatever reason, the Renaissance era, the medieval times have never really sat well with me. I can't really quite figure it out. There's a couple other genres I don't really gel well with. Anything underwater, anything in space, I seem to struggle with. But for whatever reason, I feel like the medieval times, it should be like the creme de la creme, but for whatever reason, it rubs me the wrong way. I can't really figure it out. That's neither here nor there, because this isn't about the Renaissance era or the medieval times. This is a mystery. We are introducing our first actual plot twist this season, so it's worth noting. Go ahead and grab yourself something bubbly and bright. Let's jump into season 4, episode 14 of Dynasty, Lancelot. I have another confession. Lancelot does not actually make me, it sort of makes me think of medieval times, obviously, but I am an NSYNC stan, ready and waiting, saving up money for the reunion that will happen. It will happen. I'm speaking it into existence. It reminds me of the whole way that NSYNC came together. Allegedly, they released 5 guys, there were 5 guys working together. The 5th one didn't really work out. And they had to find a 5th member. So they go to look for a 5th member and they find this kid out of Laurel, Mississippi, aka Lance. I'm not gonna play myself, but if I had a favorite, there's only 5 positions. Maybe this person's in the 5th position. And this is from like 1996. I don't know what it was. I'm just like, I didn't feel like he was dancing as hard. I love him because what he's brought to the group, and I understand, there will be no NSYNC slander on this podcast ever. The original story told to me through a VHS that some of us have purchased or our parents purchased for us circa 1997, 1998 was that they took the last initial or last letter of each member's name and it created NSYNC. Only when you do the math, you start thinking, you're like, well, no, because Lance's last letter would be an E. It's a silent letter. It really wouldn't work. So what they said is like, no. We call him Lanston. Yuck. That's how we came up with NSYNC. Lanston. Yuck. Only the T is that there was an actual other member before him with a last initial of N who didn't work out. So they just like, okay, we already created an NSYNC. We have to keep this up. How can we make this fix? Lanston. This is what this episode felt like to me. Lancelot? Who the hell is that? Why would this matter? It is the most peculiar introduction of a storyline that I have seen thus far on 80 soaps, and that's saying a lot. So go ahead and buckle in as we explore the ins and outs of season 4, episode 14. I know what you're thinking, Jet. Is this another super slow burn? Yeah, sort of. But there's so many tidbits in it that are worth mentioning. First and foremost, Corbithius does indeed goes to the doctor and he tells her, hey, you got this high blood pressure. If you don't stop acting up, you're liable to do weird things. Duh. But also, she didn't want this baby, so she's having this private discussion with her doctor. No HIPAA violations, but Krystal is waiting in the waiting room. When Kirby comes out, she tells Krystal that, oh, he said I was just stressed. I just need to chill out a little bit. What he had actually said was, baby girl, you need to be on bed rest. These numbers are off the chart. You are wilding. If you don't stop, your nervous system is going to shut down. And she hears this and she's like, sounds like this demon seed might be evaporated if I just go ahead and don't settle down. So I'm going to do the opposite. Let me just tell them other things. Yeah, girl, he said it was just, I was just tripping on his nerves or something. I don't know. He said it was just stress. So I just need to relax a little bit. Nothing about bed rest, which is irrelevant because the star of the show is Blake's incompetence, but we need to dance around a few other things first. So there is this scene, 80 sex scenes. Let's just go ahead and say it. This is why the kids need to play outside or out of sight. 80 sex scenes on national television are beyond uncomfortable for me. I can't quite pinpoint the moment, but I literally don't even look at people kiss on TV. I have to turn my head. It makes me very weird. My parents used to make me cover my eyes when those scenes came on. If you know, you know. If you know, you know. I feel like there's a very niche demographic of people born between 1980 and probably like 1994 where it just, we were precious, but kind of not really. We just had to kind of figure things out for ourselves. Close your eyes when something comes on so we can continue this movie if you're in the room. We're not going to kick you out. You just have to cover your eyes. Fallon and Peeta are post-coital and they are sipping the champagne because I guess when you know it's going to go down, you have an ice cold bucket of champagne sent up. And Peter's non-blinking ass is like, that was fantastic. I need a little something to bring me down. Only it's an upper. Because I survived Dare Week. As a matter of fact, I'm going to brag on myself just a little bit. I don't remember what year it is, but whatever year I was in second grade, I got third place in the Dare illustration paper bag situation. So everyone had a paper bag and you're supposed to draw some sort of druggie or something on it and why you shouldn't do drugs. I got third place. I think it was second place. Got second place. And I'm proud to announce that the guy I lost to was an actual illustrator. Okay. Your girl was on it at 7 years old. I knew what I saw. And I just painted like this guy with these hollow eyes. I think I just painted Edward Scissorhands and put him in a Freddy Krueger sweater. I just painted all of my fears into one thing. And he was a drug addict. And they were like, yo, this girl knows what's up. So I feel qualified to speak on the recreational happenings of 1984. He pulls out a little baggie. He starts slicing and dicing that cocaine. And Fallon is a little bit shocked. But Peter, in the most dead-eyed way, says, you didn't know that I indulge from time to time. Do you want some? She's like, no, I've seen too many people lose all their shmoney about that, and I'm not about losing my money. He goes, cool, it'll happen. Ladies and gentlemen, Peter, the filibuster, is a bad influence. Not that I didn't know this. I just thought he was broke. But it is becoming alarmingly clear that it is because he has a drug habit. It's a problem. He's sort of ruining everyone's lives around him. And he seems to be content to hope that Fallon will join him. If she does, I think that's raggedy writing because I just need to let go. That's my problem. I can't let go of season 1 Fallon. I just can't. I still hope for this brave, bright, really astute woman to come poking through. She just hasn't done it yet, but she tells him, thanks, but no thanks. I'm going to keep my nose nice and clean because I had a whole business to run. I'm struggling right now because I don't want to label Dynasty a little bit of a dud, but I think it's the diet cookie effect. If you've never had a real chocolate chip cookie and you experience a diet cookie, it's fine. It's delicious. It's an amazing thing. But if you taste the real thing, you can't untaste. And unfortunately, I'm experiencing a little bit of that with Dynasty. So I'm going to rush through this. Let's hit you with the highlights. Stephen has a little bit of a birthday party. Alexis sends a magnum bottle of Dom Perignon just to make her presence known, even though she wasn't invited to the actual thing. Stephen and Claudia have moved into the Carrington mansion because of the threat on little Danny's life or the weirdo looking up at them. Perfectly reasonable. However, it annoys me that everyone lives in the mansion. Okay, Krystal still wants to have a baby. She makes a little secret meeting with the doctor. The doctor tells her he still agrees with her original doctor, but if she wants to proceed, so be it. Do you? People have been wrong before. It is what it is. More interestingly is Tracy. Now, Tracy is this seasoned PR person, and it rubs her a little bit wrong that Krystal has the position over her. So she formulates a plan. She did all the things when they were in Acapulco or wherever they were in Rio de Janeiro. She knows that there's this big meeting, this whole energy studies convention or something that's coming up. And Krystal is a little bit distracted because she is helping Kirby through this difficult time, right? So she misses a couple of phone calls or something. Blake comes in and he's like, hey, Tracy, could you leave a message for Krystal saying that I really need her at this particular thing? Tracy writes it down in front of Blake. She leaves it on the desk so that he sees it. She sees it. It is what it is. As soon as he leaves the room, she throws it on the floor, puts it right under the wheel of the chair. And then, sure enough, Krystal does not show up in time. So she shows up in time and she does her thug thistle. She's amazing. She's wonderful. What she's doing there is planting the seed. She is solidifying for Blake that she is an apt pupil. She is a wonderful person to be on his side. And even if Krystal can't make it, it's not that she's separating Krystal and Blake. She's just saying, hey, I can definitely step in. I'm not mad at this because quiet as kept, she should be the person in the position. 100%. There's no HR person in America who would look at her resume, look at Krystal's resume and say, oh, Krystal, you're the perfect fit. That's just not true. Tracy is doing her thing, but I like that she is becoming slightly unhinged each step. A little later in the episode, Krystal's pissed off because she didn't get the call. Why didn't somebody call me? Why didn't somebody come and get me? Why didn't you do this, that, and the third? And Tracy's like, no, I totally wrote down the message. I'm sorry. I don't know why I didn't show up. I just kind of, I feared you weren't there. I didn't hear back from you. So I just showed up just in case. These are all very reasonable explanations. Krystal has the nerve to be mad. But then she has the nerve to be real like, okay, Tracy, I'm glad you showed up. It was a wonderful thing. Jeff finally tells Blake about the divorce. And Blake has the audacity as a twice divorced man who beat the crap out of his first wife's lover, tried to beat the crap out of her, who has murder under his belt. He had the nerve to talk to Jeff about the sanctity of marriage and how you got to be responsible for these things. Jeff, I can't believe y'all are breaking up. Eventually, he decides, you know what, it is what it is. Well, I mean, here's the thing. He's upset because he knows there's a whole baby coming. He's like, I just can't believe you guys would do this for this baby. Jeff keeps it quiet. He keeps it cute. He didn't say very much. But eventually, it hits the fan. In a move I didn't really see coming. Kirby is lying in bed. Jeff comes in. Oh, do we really need to do this? He's all but ready to tell Philip. Is that his name? No, not Philip. Andrew. R.I.P. Philip. Andrew not to file the divorce papers because this just feels wrong. She's sick. She's not doing well. I can't divorce you during this time. Let's just... Jeff's plan all along is like, okay, I know who the baby daddy is. I don't really care. I will raise the baby and we'll just deal with it. But Kirby has other plans, and she's like, you're such a wonderful guy. You're my knight in shining armor. However, it's too late for all of that. I have decided that as soon as our divorce is finalized, I am going to marry Adam. He's like, what? I shouted at the TV. Are you serious, Kirby? What? Are you crazy? I agree with Jeff. I'm back on the denim doormat's side. Why would you do that? She's made up her mind. It is what it is. And the next scene is Adam, to my surprise, confessing to Blake that he RAPED'd Kirby. And he's in love with her now, and he just got a little crazy for a moment. Unfortunately, it didn't work out between her and Jeff, but he'll be darned if that baby isn't a Carrington. He's going to marry her. So now Blake's like, okay, this is starting to make sense. This is why Jeff didn't say anything. This is why they're doing, okay. I hate this. I hate it, but also I got to go along with this because I'm an egomaniac. It is what it is. I don't know why y'all kids just can't stay married, because me, back in my day, you put a ring on somebody's finger, you made it work. Never mind the murder rep. Never mind the assault charge. Never mind all that. He is completely blind to this, and he's telling Krystal, these kids just don't know up from down. I don't know what their problem is. Could it be that Adam is born from a psychopath? Perhaps. Perhaps not. I'm just going to skip a little bit. I don't really feel like this episode needs to be super long. By the end of the episode, everybody's sort of dealing and wheeling and dealing with Krystal wants a baby. Fallon knows that the filibuster does the cocaine. Blake knows that the filibuster has expensive taste, and quiet as kept. He agrees with Adam. He don't really feel like they should go ham on this new annex, but he's trying to work that out. Trying to think what else is important. I don't know what else is important because I haven't watched the next episode, but I will say this. Alexis and Dexter have decided that they are a thing. They are very into each other. I know this because in her opening scene on this episode, she's wearing a white sequin gown. She's wearing all of his jewelry. Actually, she's wearing a necklace, and she either had a bracelet and earrings made or she had them on deck. I don't know what happened, but she's wearing all that. He comes in, their kissy boo-boo face, and he's rubbing all up and down her thigh, which is a sign of possession, if you know what I'm saying. So by the end of the episode, Claudia and Stephen are still, they're being a little kissy boo-boo face all over the place. And someone delivers something to their house. Now, earlier in the show, there is a scene in this flower shop where this guy with the Teen Wolf haircut, biggest hair I've ever seen on the screen, is selling to this gloved McGruff the crime dog character with the hat on. We can't see who it is. And he's selling these violets, I believe, so whatever the flower is that Claudia is allergic to. So by the end of the episode, as they're packing to move into the mansion, there's a knock on the door. Stephen goes to the door. He opens it, and it's these flowers that she's allergic to. And she's just, oh my God, I can't believe it. Who would do this? She opens them. I'm allergic to violets or whatever. She reads a card, and it says something, blah, 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 I miss you, always love you, some crap like that. Something unnerving, and it says it's from Lancelot. Stephen's like, Lancelot? That's a weird name for 1984. And she said, yeah, it would be, but that's what he used to call Matthew. Matthew with the hips don't lie hips is suddenly sending flowers. This pisses me off in particular because if you listen to season 1, I implore you to listen to at least a couple of episodes. Matthew was never fully interested in Claudia, not one time. He was all about Krystal. So the tea was, Matthew was the sort of wildcatter in the oil field. And he was working for Denver Carrington, and somehow or another, he stumbled across Krystal, who was this secretary. She wasn't actually dating Blake at the time, but whatever. They fell in love. They started having this whole torrid affair. And eventually she started dating Blake because she knew that Matthew was married to Claudia. Now, Claudia, let them tell it, went insane when she heard about the whole affair. So she was in an insane asylum. That he was just a little bit too yuck for this show, in my opinion. He would have done well on Yellowstone, not Yellow Rose, but I think he would have been a little bit intense for that anyway. He and their daughter, over the top Lindsay, Lindsay was on one. Talk about teenage angst. She was flipping out every other episode. She running down the street 15, 35 miles. I don't know. Apparently they blew up in Peru. So suddenly she's getting this box of flowers from her deceased husband, and she called him Lancelot because he was such a romantic when they met. I have never in my life bought the love story between Claudia the Stallion and Matthew, my hips don't lie, Blaisdell. But I guess he's back in this. I'm very disappointed. I hope I don't see him on this. I didn't like the character. I didn't like him. I hadn't seen him since season 1. But we'll have to find out together on episode 15. Alright guys, that's it. That's all for this episode of Soap Lore. Thank you so much for joining me today. Remember, if you receive an anonymous gift and it is filled with anything you are allergic to, flush it down the toilet. Don't entertain it, not for a second. You don't need corpse flowers from any weirdo from your past. Stay hydrated, stay moisturized, mind your own business, and keep all of your drama on TV.